Now it's time for today's perspective. And my guest on the programme today is an international award-winning and Emmy-nominated documentary maker who, during the filming of his latest documentary, which is due on French television this weekend, he was actually expelled by the authorities from Hong Kong. Antoine Védeilhé's documentary, then, going behind the scenes of the city, often with secret filming. He spent the past decade reporting from Asia, from China, from India to Myanmar and the Philippines, his work really focusing on civil resistance and life under authoritarian rule. His film is called Hong Kong ne reprend plus, or Hong Kong doesn't exist anymore. First of all, before we talk to him, we're going to play a quick clip. This is as you filmed secretly as you were expelled from the country. Let's hear the conversation between you and the customs.
We will give you a refusal notice.
But who refused? You refused?
Our department.
Which department?
We are the Hong Kong immigration. Our immigration officer.
And they are all immigration officers?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, a quick clip there as you were thrown out of the country, basically. I mean, just tell us what happened.
Well, as soon as I arrived at the immigration desk, I gave my passport and I noticed that something was wrong because the immigration officer was looking at me like he was a bit surprised, but I assumed something was written on his computer and he asked me to wait and some immigration officers came and asked me to follow them into a kind of detention room where I was interviewed and searched for like more than 3 hours. And after some time, they just put me back in the plane, the exact same plane that I took from Paris to travel to Hong Kong. Right. So it was a pretty long journey, and they didn't really explain me what was wrong with me, but they just kicked me out of the country.
I mean, obviously you were a known journalist at the time. I mean, presumably your past activities or something like that led them to have this block on you?
Yes, I've been covering Hong Kong for like more than 10 years. My first trip in Hong Kong was in 2016, and I've been covering Beijing's grip on the city from 2016, but I didn't expect that I would be detained and expelled. My last trip in Hong Kong was in June 2024, and I didn't have any issue.
And knowing the authorities and knowing the work that you've done in the past, I mean, were you scared at that point? Or did it frighten you?
Not at all, because I mean, I believed that Hong Kong was still Hong Kong, but the story I was doing, the film, the documentary I was doing for France Télévisions was about the end of the Hong Kong that we used to know, this free city where people used to enjoy freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of the press, and I was supposed to go to Hong Kong to film the new situation in the city. And what happened to me is the proof that Hong Kong is no longer Hong Kong.
So you changed your opinion because of what happened?
I knew that something was different and that Hong Kong was not the city I used to know, but I didn't. And I know that it's becoming more and more difficult to document Hong Kong. But again, I'm a foreign journalist, a French journalist. I am known in Hong Kong for my previous report, but I couldn't imagine that I would be expelled. I mean, it's quite huge. Like, I'm not the first one, and unfortunately, I won't be the last one, but I didn't expect it.
So then, of course, you needed to carry on making the film. How did you go about doing that?
Well, we filmed some interviews in London, in Taiwan, where most of the dissidents are now living in exile, and we had to send another team. Like 1 month after I've been expelled from Hong Kong, we sent a new DOP to film in Hong Kong secretly. Of course, we had to take some measures to protect him and the people we were filming, but I wasn't able to go to Hong Kong for the documentary.
And how depressing is it? I mean, obviously, as you said, you knew Hong Kong, what it was like before. You've filmed there fairly recently. So how difficult and wow, depressing was it to find that it had changed in such a way?
It was, honestly, and you know, in the moment where they put me back into the plane, when I was in the corridor leading to the plane, I feel a bit sad because I realized that I will no longer be able to return to Hong Kong, which is a city I deeply love, where I have many friends, where I have many good memories as a reporter, as a correspondent for France 24. I've been there many times. I covered the protest in 2019, and I have very good memories in Hong Kong. And yeah, I felt a bit depressed, yeah.
Yeah. And tell us about, I mean, obviously it was back in 2019, wasn't it, that millions of people went out on the streets and marched trying to get democracy back. I mean, it's a dramatic transformation, isn't it, in 6 or 7 years, really?
Yes, but I mean, Hong Kong used to be, again, because of this special statute, one country, two system, Hong Kong used to be, again, a free city where people were free to debate, free to demonstrate in the street. And we were able to see things in Hong Kong that won't be possible in mainland China. You will never see millions of people demonstrating in the streets in mainland China. And everything was like wiped out in 2020 with the national security law, when Beijing realized that the situation in Hong Kong went too far. And I believe that Xi Jinping, they saw that the protester crossed the red line, and then there was a crackdown on the civil society.
And you mentioned as well that you've been talking to people in exile in London, Taiwan as well. I mean, does that repression extend that far? I mean, how difficult was it for those people to talk?
Definitely, it goes beyond the frontier of Hong Kong and of mainland China. We interviewed Hong Kong activist Carmen Lau. She's like 30 years old, and she's a Hong Kong activist, a former Democratic Council elected person in Hong Kong. She's now living in exile, and she has a bounty on her head of 100,000 Hong Kong dollar, which is the equivalent of 1 million Hong Kong dollar, which is the equivalent of 100,000 euros. And like, if you arrest her and bring her to the embassy, you will get this crazy reward, and it's just because of her advocacy for Hong Kong. And she's not safe living in the UK. She's followed in the street. She received threats in an apartment in Hong Kong. She has been followed in the street. The situation is not safe for Hong Kong dissidents abroad.
If people watch the documentary, it's on French television, isn't it, at 9 p.m. on Sunday night, obviously in French. But what do you think people will take out of it? What will they get from watching the programme?
I think what really matters is to understand that what's going on in Hong Kong could happen beyond Hong Kong. And that, as Hong Kongers say, it takes years to build a democratic system, but everything could be over within a night. And this is what happened in Hong Kong. And so I think that we have to take care about Hong Kong, because, again, what happened in Hong Kong could happen elsewhere. And there are many examples of things going on in Hong Kong that are happening in France and elsewhere in Europe and in the world. And so we should really be careful, and we have to hold the line.
And what about Beijing itself? I mean, presumably the crackdowns and everything you've talked about, I mean, the capital, the country, kind of trying to rewrite Hong Kong's future?
Yes, and the new trend in Hong Kong is to say that Hong Kong has never been a British colony. And well, we all know that Hong Kong was a British colony for 156 years after the Opium Wars. There was the handover in July 1997. Hong Kong was given back to China by the UK. And still they say that Hong Kong has never been a colony. There is no explanation behind that, but this is the narrative by Beijing, and this is again the proof that Beijing doesn't tolerate any dissident voice. They are rewriting the history, but they did the same with the Uyghurs in Xinjiang, they did the same with Tibet, and this is what they are doing now in Hong Kong, and this is what they will be doing maybe tomorrow in Taiwan.
Antoine Védeilhé, thanks very much for joining us on the programme. If you are here in France and you want to watch that programme, you'll find it Hong Kong Ne Répond Plus, and it's at 9 p.m. on French television. I'm sure you'll find it if you look. Thanks a lot, Antoine Védeilhé, for being with us on the programme today.